Days after Typhoon Doksuri struck China, its full force is still on display. The heavy rainfall sends this car spinning down a flooded river in Hebei province. Once it comes to a stop, miraculously, a man appears. Drenched and muddy, he makes it to the roof of the vehicle. A successful rescue at a time when these rains and floods have killed at least 20 people, with dozens missing. This is why that driver was so lucky. Mangled vehicles in the suburbs of Beijing.
The cars parked on the street were floating and got washed away. A couple of vehicles parked behind my apartment disappeared in minutes.
Runways are now rivers, with nearly 400 flights cancelled today at the city's 2 airports. Beijing saw the equivalent of the average rainfall for the entire month of July, just between Saturday and Monday. And as ingenious as the ways are to rescue those stuck, the devastation is not yet over, with authorities warning of yet more rain and flooding. The military today was delivering boxes containing food and water to people stranded because of damaged roads. Around 150,000 homes in one district are reported to be without running water. This is happening in other parts of the country. Here in Fujian province, the roads below tower blocks are now muddy, murky lakes. While seasonal flooding does strike parts of China every summer, northern areas rarely see such rainfall, and this is highly unusual for Beijing. With this coming right after an intense heat wave, the link to climate change is clear. While the number of tropical storms and typhoons won't increase, their intensity will, due to a combination of more extreme rainfall, warmer oceans, and a rise in sea levels. Typhoon Doksuri hasn't just affected China, but it also hasn't changed everyone's plans. In the Philippines, one couple decided to have and to hold hands through the not too deep waters of the Church Island. But in the north, the floodwaters have reached 7 feet deep, caused not just by Typhoon Doksuri last week, but a new typhoon called Kanun. In Japan, they're already bracing for the next wave of water, with the typhoon set to hit the southwestern island of Okinawa soon. Everyone and everything is already under wraps. Businesses in Japan are hoping to avoid scenes like these at a factory in Beijing. While the latest forecast suggests China is not in the path of the next typhoon, the warning from climate scientists is that this could all just become a normal summer.
Well, earlier today I spoke to the Chinese environmentalist Ma Jun, who's the founder of the Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs in Beijing. And I asked him whether he thought the typhoon hitting Beijing so powerfully might speed up progress to reduce emissions and adapt to changing climate.
Most of the people in China, I have to say, have the basic understanding of global warming, and people pay attention to that, but they haven't really linked that with their own behavior, and most of the people would think that that is something rather remote. It's about polar bear, the fate of the polar bear, or it is about keeping the temperature down. Below, temperature rise below 2 degrees or 1.5 by the end of this century. They haven't really connect that as closely as when the smog, the air pollution hit the city.
And what do you make of the government's actions and the way the government is communicating about it?
To tackle the air pollution problem, China have suspended or even shut down thousands of coal mines and try to control the expansion, quick expansion of coal consumption. That has happened, particularly during the past 5-6 years. Of course, in more recent years, we started seeing a rebound, unfortunately, due to the turbulent global energy market and particularly the geopolitical tension, and which makes most of the major economies, including China, to prioritize in a much higher way the energy security issue. So this is the dilemma. How can China, as still a going through this industrialization and urbanization, try to artificially pick its carbon emission faster.
Can I ask you, how much do you think China cares about what the rest of the world is doing, particularly a country like Britain, where we're having an argument at the moment about our own responsibilities and whether we should be drilling for oil and gas and what kind of message that sends to the outside world and whether we can be global leaders when it comes to carbon reduction if we're doing these things. Does China care what Britain does?
So what happened in other parts of the world helps, Britain and European Union have been the torchbearer on the climate action side. So that's very inspiring. But in the meantime, all this back and forth, all this debates and discussion, we pay attention to that, just like what happened, when the Trump administration withdrew from the Paris Agreement, that actually weakened and nearly undermined the global solidarity and got the whole global, international climate governance to come to to suffer a big setback. So I think, what all this matters to the other parts of the world.
Roger, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.